Welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about Vedana, or mindfulness of feeling tones. This was the Vedana Nupassana that I mentioned before. So in the previous video, I talked about an experience I had with my jujitsu training partner that was very unpleasant. You've probably noticed that I've used the term unpleasant many times throughout this module. I will explain that in just a moment. It is intentional. When we're contemplating emotions or recognizing emotions, observing our emotions, we can think of them as having their own feeling tone, and this is known as Vedana in Sanskrit. Vedana means sensation or feeling, and there are three of them. The first one is pleasant. We can recognize pleasant emotions like joy or love. Then the next one is unpleasant. Unpleasant would be emotions like fear or anger. And then the final one is neutral. Neutral emotions tend to go unnoticed. When we notice pleasant emotions like joy or love, peace especially, we typically see them or recognize them and then continue about our day. They don't have much of an impact on us other than pleasant experiences or being joyful or peaceful. So we typically recognize these as being temporary in nature. So, for example, if somebody says something to make you laugh hysterically, you know that you're not going to be laughing hysterically until the end of time. However, however, when we experience unpleasant emotions, they tend to be a lot bigger and stronger and more long lasting than the pleasant ones. And again, this is part of our biological evolution. They are this way because they are protective in nature. The strength and seemingly perpetuating nature of unpleasant emotions is the reason that we feel stuck. We have all experienced some kind of suffering that we thought was going to last forever. And again, neutral emotions tend to go unnoticed. They're things like indifference or boredom, or even just seeing a rock on the ground. We don't really respond to that. There's not much happening there. Those neutral emotions, particularly indifference and boredom, can shift from neutral into pleasant or unpleasant. For instance, if you notice something that's relatively uninteresting and then you notice something interesting about it, like an ordinary cloud, but upon further inspection, you notice the slight glint of a rainbow, that might give rise to joy or gratitude. But on the other side, if you notice that you are feeling a little bit bored and then you can't find anything to occupy your attention, then it might evolve into annoyance or frustration. This is particularly evident in my 10-year-old. Or maybe you become interrupted in the middle of doing something. Usually you're unbothered by this, but then it persists and you become frustrated and angry. Again, this is something I notice in myself with my 10-year-old. So most of our experiences as we go throughout the day are relatively neutral. Now, it is my goal to help you begin to eliminate this conditioned idea that there are good or bad emotions or positive or negative emotions. Good, bad, positive, negative, those are all judgments, and we don't judge our experience in mindfulness. If we begin to judge our emotions by calling them good or bad, it creates either a grasping, first hindrance, or aversion, second hindrance. So we tend to push away the emotions we think of as bad and grasp at the ones that we think are good. This is pretty evident in things like addiction. So because of this tendency to create either a grasping or an aversion, I am not going to talk about emotions as being good or bad or positive or negative, and I suggest that you work on reframing those yourself. So good and positive are now pleasant emotions. Bad or negative, as you've thought of them before, now become unpleasant emotional experiences. Now, in the next video, we are going to work with a practice that's called RAIN. It's an acronym that I will break down in the next video. And in this video, we are going to intentionally bring up some emotional experiences so that we can work with them. And it may be a little bit challenging, but it's going to be okay. And I'm excited for you to learn this because it is really transformative. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.